Yeah. Madam Whip Ass here. Okay, so let's do something fun together. So you know Bobby Brown got a book coming out on Monday called Every Little Step. And he is just telling everything, and I think he's lying about some things. Well, when he was on the interview, there's two things in my other video I thought he was lying about. But what we're going to do is read some tidbits of what to expect in his book. And so I Googled Bobby Brown and Janet Jackson. Now, I had heard that they had dated during her Rhythm Nation days. And for some reason, I never really believed that. Because, what is wrong with Janet? Oh my God. But anyway, so I Googled it. So, Us Weekly or US Weekly. Let's see what they have to say. Bobby Brown, I kicked Janet Jackson out of... Oh, shut up. Okay, I'll start again. Bobby Brown, I kicked Janet Jackson out of the hotel room after having sex. Really? Really, Janet? Really, Bobby? Bobby tells all. Bobby Brown opened up about his past romances with Madonna and Janet Jackson in his new book, Every Little Step, My Story, and revealed that one of the two iconic singers once told him that she loved him, but wasn't in love with him. Yeah, that sounds like Janet. I fell in love with Janet when she was Penny on Good Times, the 47-year-old New Edition singer told Us Weekly in an exclusive interview. It goes back that far, my infatuation with her. The pair dated on the down low for several months in the mid-'80s, while Jackson, now 50, was in a relationship with Renee Elizondo Jr. I cannot believe Janet cheated on Renee with Bobby Brown. Really, Janet? She would later secretly wed Elizondo Jr. They divorced in 2000. Brown confessed that he thought Jackson would leave Elizondo Jr. for him, but it soon became clear that their affair had to come to an end when she told me she wasn't in love with me, he said. She loved me, but wasn't in love with me, Brown said, adding that the Rhythm Nation singer told him, my father won't allow me to be with a black man. Why do I find that to be true? At that, Brown wrote in his book he kicked her out of the hotel room where they had been lying in bed after having sex. I exploded and I threw her out, he penned. As for Madonna, 57, Brown said their sexual encounter was kind of weird, but, memorable. I'm not even going to read about Madonna. Madonna is such a scuzzy, skanky, disgusting person. Madonna and Janet shared the same ding-a-ling. Ew. Ugh, Madonna, Whitney, and Janet. Oh, God. Bobby, what is wrong with these people? I'm so surprised at you, Janet. Ugh. Well, at least we can be happy that he kicked you out. Because look at him today, honey. That's a blessing. Okay, so what else can we see? Bobby Brown claims Whitney had an affair with Tupac Shakur. Really? Well, let's see what this says. This is from page 6 In a book filled with explicit stories of sex, drugs, and violence, Bobby Brown's memoir includes allegations about the late Whitney Houston, ranging from smoking pot with their then teenage daughter to having an affair with Tupac Shakur. You know, why do I believe that Whitney was smoking weed with Bobby Chris? I certainly believe that. I believe that Whitney, especially having a drug problem, most drug addict parents, they're always friends with their children. And I don't believe in being friends with your children. Your children are not your friends. You can be friendly with them, friendly, but they're not your friends. You really don't become friends with your children until they're like 25. And then you are mother and son, or mother and daughter, father and daughter, father and son, and you also are friends. So yeah, I clearly can see Whitney smoking weed with Bobby Chris. That is so not far-fetched for me. Whitney having an affair with Tupac. You know, I just don't see Whitney as the type that would cheat on her husband. I don't even see her cheating on a boyfriend. But then again, you know, I'm thinking about myself. You know, Leos are very faithful people. And I don't know. I just don't see her cheating on. I don't know. But anyway, in every little step, Brown describes in detail his tumultuous years with Houston and the estrangement from their daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, after their divorce. He disputes reports that he was responsible for Houston's drug problems and harshly criticizes her family and others around her for keeping him from their daughter. Houston died in 2012 and Bobby Christina died last year. Every Little Step comes out June 13th. All right, so the 322-page book follows Brown's life from growing up in Roxbury, Massachusetts, and his rise as a child star, with new addition to such platinum-selling solo albums as Don't Be Cruel and his time with Houston and his current wife, Alicia Etheridge Brown. The book includes testimonials from family members and such professional colleagues as Ralph Tresvant of New Edition and Don't Be Cruel co-producer Kenneth Babyface Edmonds. Brown, 47, writes in detail about his bad boy behavior, his many sexual affairs with Janet Jackson and Madonna among his alleged partners, about his drug problems, which he says are now behind him, and his encounters with the law. You know what? If you go back and watch that, his recent interview with Robin Roberts, when she asks him that question, if he is clean from drugs, and he says he's been clean from narcotics for about 12 years, I don't believe him. That body language, that stretching his hand and itching, that was a lie. I mean, scratching his head or something. There's something about his body language. Bullshit. He still sniffs coke every now and then. It might not be out of control like it was, but he still indulges in some narcotics here and there. Trust me. And when they find him in a bathtub and the autopsy report comes out, cocaine in his system. Anyway, where was I? Anyway, he writes about his bad boy behavior, his many sexual affairs. Did I read all of that stuff? I think I did. And, he writes that Whitney was using cocaine before he was and continued to use drugs after he had cleaned up. He contends that she did her share of cheating with quite a few of the producers and artists she worked with, and names one ex-lover, the late Tupac Shakur. Notice Tupac is dead. He can't defend himself. Okay. Brown's daughter from his relationship with Kim Ward, LaPrincia Brown, alleges in the book that she was in a car with Houston, Bobby Christina, and Nick Gordon, Bobby's boyfriend at the time, when things got real strange. They all started smoking pot together, she recalled. Yes, she, Houston, was smoking with them. It goes on to say about Bobby Brown feuding with Whitney Houston and all that stuff and other in-laws. And right now my computer has frozen on me. But that's pretty much what's left of that article. And I'm going to go by one more thing and see what's popping. What is going on with my internet service? Okay, it's back in business. Let me see if I can find one more topic. Michael Jackson erratic sexual behavior. Slapped sisters on butt. Really? Wait a minute. Hold on. This is from the Inquisitor.com. Oh, Bobby Brown is writing this in his book about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's sexual behavior was so bizarre, he would allegedly slap his sister's backsides and think it was funny. Bobby Brown claims in his memoir, Every Little Step My Story. What the hell does Michael got to do with your shit, Bobby? Come on. This is the first time that the 80s singer, who was famously married to Whitney Houston, has shed light on the bizarre claims, excuse me, which Bobby says were a constant thing that happened in the Jackson household. Brown makes it known that he has established a good friendship with the likes of Michael, LaToya, and Janet Jacksons, since they would constantly cross paths as they dominated the music industry with hits including Let's Wait a While, My Prerogative, and Black or White. Eventually, they were so close that Bobby would often be invited back to the family's home in Encino, California, but it didn't take long for Brown to see Michael Jackson exhibit an alarming behavior that even he couldn't make sense of. According to the 47-year-old, Michael would run around the house in a joking manner and slap his sisters on their bottoms. It was almost as if Jackson considered it as a fun game to play, since this reportedly happened time and time again, at least whenever Bobby Brown would come over. Michael loved playing jokes on people, so he kept running through the house and smacking his sisters on the ass, the aging R&B singer writes in his memoir. According to Radar Online, confessing that Jackson's actions were rather strange, Bobby found it entertaining and certainly didn't complain when he saw it happen with his own eyes. I don't even know why he thought it was funny to slap his sisters on the ass, but I was certainly enjoying it too, the star concluded, insinuating that Michael's odd decision to slap his sisters on their bottoms almost became acceptable in their household for the supposed fact that the now deceased singer was only doing it in a joking manner. In his memoir, Bobby also admits to having dated Janet Jackson for several months before her controlling father, Joe, split the couple up because he supposedly didn't think that Brown was good enough for his daughter. Well, he wasn't. Despite Brown having several hits on the charts at that time. Just because you got a hit record don't mean you good enough for somebody. Fuck out of here. Explaining his brief relationship with Janet, Bobby says, "We were young, horny, and extremely taken with each other." Janet was horny for Bobby Brown? Oh my God. Assuring himself that if it hadn't been for Joe splitting the twosome up, they would have definitely remained a couple since they were so in love with one another. Now, didn't we just read another article that Janet said that she loved him but wasn't in love with him and he kicked her out the hotel room? And now, you see, that's why you can't believe everything you read in these papers and online. But then again, that begs the question of whether Bobby would have ever gone on to marry Whitney Houston if his relationship with Janet Jackson was still blossoming at the time. Either way, Bobby seems to have no regrets with how things turned out between him and Janet. News of Michael Jackson's alleged odd sexual behavior comes just 11 years after the pop star stood trial for numerous lawsuits by minors, blah, 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 blah. All right, so that's pretty much it. Just thought I would read some information to you and entertain you a bit. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.